Welcome to Believe in Music Week and our session on why did insurance not cover COVID-19? My name is Rob Wise and I'm here with Amy Wise. We're both with Emory & Webb. We are the NAM endorsed provider for business insurance, and we've actually been doing this a very long time. In fact, Amy and I found this old poster from 1998. So if you were NAM at 1998, you might remember some of this swag that was given out, but we still have it around. Been doing it a long time, and we're gonna miss seeing you folks this year. Every year we get to be out in Anaheim with you and get to see our clients and also get to hang out and have a lot of fun as well. We're gonna miss you. The topic we chose though was the one that is absolutely the elephant in the room. COVID has been hard on everyone. It's been hard on you, our clients. It's been hard on even us as agents throughout the year. But we wanted to make sure we address it, give it some information, but maybe not all the possible advice we could in one place. In fact, some of the notes we wanted to make on that were, go ahead.
Sure. We wanted to kind of give a disclaimer right at the beginning to say there is no way in a 10-minute video presentation that we could address all the nuances and all of the various situations from state to state and policy to policy and business to business that were affected by COVID. But we did want to at least address from a larger perspective some of the bigger generalities. We've had a lot of very tough conversations with our clients this year, and we know that beyond that, a lot of other folks have the same questions. And so we wanted to address that and try and bring answers from a general perspective. If you do have individual questions about your policy, your type of business, your state, we would be happy to talk with you about that. Just give us a call. We are the insurance nerds. Many of you have spoken with us at our booth at NAM over the past couple of years, and if you haven't, we hope you'll stop by and see us at our booth at future shows. We are looking forward to seeing you guys in person, either at Summer NAM or at Winter NAM next year. But in the meantime, we wanted to talk about COVID and the big question that we've received throughout this year, which is mainly, why did my policy not respond?
Yeah, you had this conversation often with clients day in and day out, and kind of walking through that, we'd like to walk through what that conversation looked like and the frustration that was felt by the business owners and our friends through that. So, maybe if you could walk through what that conversation sounds like. COVID, clearly went over all parts of our lives. And in regards to insurance, there were parts of insurance that did respond, health insurance, for example. But the question that we're going to touch on the most today is in regards to business interruption coverage. And my business got shut down. Why was there no response? Why was there no help, it seemed, in this regard? And if you could walk us through kind of that conversation that you had almost daily.
Sure. The big question was, I thought I had coverage on my policy for business income losses or business interruption. Two terms for basically very similar, same type of coverage. I thought I had that on my policy, but I put in a claim with my insurance company and they denied it. They didn't pay the claim. So what in the world have I been paying for all this time? That's the question. That's the main thing that people have been calling and asking about. And for every person that's called, there's 100 more that didn't call that have the same question.
And a lot of folks ask, well, why don't I have it? And some of the hard answer was it was not readily available. There was one situation that caught some attention that was an exception to that, and that was Wimbledon. Wimbledon, of course, didn't happen this year, and there was a policy in place that did cover some of their expenses that way, and that hit USA Today and others, and people said, well, they had it, but it was a very specialized policy put in place. Policy probably cost over $2 million just for that pandemic, and it was as a result of, if you remember SARS from 2003, it was a direct result of that, where they saw that coming and had to do it. But it's a very specialized policy, not something in the open market that way. And most businesses, even Emory & Webb, did not have this type of coverage because it just was not available in the market.
Correct. With business income and business interruption coverage, on most policies, most business owners' insurance policies and package policies, it is a coverage in the policy. It's listed in there. And so the big question remains, why didn't it pay? So the basic reason is that the business income portion of a policy is attached to the property section of the policy. So the only way that it responds to a claim is if there is a covered property claim first that then results in the business being closed for a period of time and you are losing income during that time while the repairs are being made or the business is being rebuilt. So that lost business income during that time period would be covered by most business owners' policies. However, with COVID, with a pandemic, there is no physical damage to property. There's no damage to a building. There's no damage to the contents of your store or your studio or your manufacturing plant. So because there is no property damage first that can be covered by the policy, there is also no subsequent business income coverage for this type of a claim. So that led to a lot of frustration for a lot of folks.
It was very hard this year to watch and talk through this situation. And of course, with insurance, it is a topic often that people don't enjoy. It can be frustrating. There's some complexity to it. It's sometimes, very much in this case, felt to let people down. There's many lawsuits right now working their way through the system. To date, though, we don't know of any that have been successful in being able to claim coverage under this for the business interruption coverage. That being said, so people say, well, what do we do now? I mean, what is this going to look like next? There's two things being worked on, much like after 9/11, if you remember, after that, terrorism coverage was put into place, which is a system where the government and the private parties of the insurance companies put together something called TRIA to help respond to future events. There is legislation being at least discussed called PREA that might work that way. There's also something else being put out there by a lot of the mutual companies, which is a business continuity proposition, which would be handled by FEMA. And FEMA would be all government, and FEMA would respond to this. And some of the problem that this situation showed is kind of the simplicity of insurance. Insurance can get complicated, but in its essence is quite simple, is money is taken in, premium, and it's taken in for certain purposes to pay out for certain claims. And in this case, that pandemic purpose, money was not brought in for that. So there was no money to pay out on that. There's been some discussion and arguments. People say, well, insurance companies have tons of money. They're well capitalized, and you want them to be well capitalized, and they are, but they're capitalized for things like the wildfires of California, the hurricanes that have hit, the Gulf Coast twice this year, the blizzards that come up into the Northeast. There is money collected that, but this pandemic issue, unfortunately, was not put in that category and could not respond. On top of that, a global pandemic is such size that really only governments have the wherewithal and ability to be able to respond. So it's very frustrating, very hard, but there are things in the works for the future that that there would be some type of a backstop, some type of a safety net to help people through this real difficult time.
Yeah, very similar to the situation with 9/11. Years ago, terrorism coverage did not exist. It was not a thing. It was not part of a normal insurance policy. And so when 9/11 happened, those businesses that were dramatically affected in New York, in Pennsylvania, in Washington, D.C., technically did not have coverage for an act of terrorism because it was actually excluded by their policies. And the insurance industry came together, partnered with the government, and came up with a solution. Those things do take time, but they are in the works. And so obviously after 9/11, within several years, we had this new coverage, terrorism coverage, affectionately known as TRIA, that is attached to just about every insurance policy in the United States at this time. That type of thing is what they're looking to do for the future as a result of this pandemic. And they're doing it as quickly as they can. Right now, there is no time frame on that. Insurance is tricky in that it is handled at the state level most of the time. And so when you get the federal level involved, it involves a lot of complexity. But it is happening, and they are working towards it. They understand that this was a significant problem for so many businesses. Even our own. Our policy did not have coverage for this as well for our agency.
So definitely, you'll be the first to know. Our clients will, when the results and when the solution begins to take form of what we can do next to help make the future more stable in this regard. As Amy said at the beginning, it's impossible for us to address every issue on something like this, like a video, and we want to make sure we understand what it is you're facing. If you have questions, please reach out to us. We're at musicinsured.com, Robert Wise, Amy Wise, and we'd love to help you best we can. You can cry on our shoulder. We'll be more than happy to cry with you because it's been a very hard year. But we're looking forward to 2021. There is a light at the end of the tunnel, and looking forward to, again, seeing you at the next event when we're able to get together in person with NAMM. Thanks for coming to the Believe in Music Week. Thanks for joining us again on Why Did Insurance Not Cover COVID? And again, please reach out to us if you have any questions.
We are the insurance nerds, as we've said before. We love talking about insurance the way that you love talking about music, which I know is weird, but true. So give us a call. Our 800 number is 866-279-1252, and we look forward to talking with you soon.